The galactic entertainment complex of Station Tertius 9 hummed with the usual cacophony of 1,000 species, seeking distraction from the void. Kate pressed her palm against the scanner at the vendor booth, watching the holographic display flicker as it calculated her credit balance. The number that appeared made her stomach sink. Insufficient funds, the Vraxian vendor chittered, its mandibles clicking with what might have been amusement. Perhaps humans should seek cheaper entertainments. Kate stepped back from the booth, her jaw tight. 3 months on this station, and she still couldn't afford a single ticket to the Nexus Theater where real performers, actors, musicians, artists from across the galaxy, showcased their talents. The irony wasn't lost on her. Back on Earth, she'd been a concert pianist. Here, she was just another broke colonist scraping by. Vito found her 20 minutes later, slouched against a viewport watching ships drift through the darkness. He carried 2 containers of what passed for coffee on Tertius 9, though it tasted more like recycled coolant than anything resembling the real thing. "Still thinking about that show?" he asked, handing her one of the containers. "The Crystalline Choir of Andromeda," Kate said, her voice distant. "They perform once every decade. Today's their only show, and tickets cost more than I make in 6 months." Vito settled beside her, his engineer's coverall still stained with lubricant from his shift in the station's maintenance tunnels. "You know what's funny? I ran diagnostics on the theater's systems last week. The audio equipment alone is worth more than most ships docked here. Not funny, depressing. Maybe." Vito took a sip of the terrible coffee and grimaced. "But here's the thing. The acoustics in those maintenance tunnels, they're incredible. Something about the cylindrical design and the composite materials. Sound carries forever down there." Kate turned to look at him, a question forming in her eyes. "I'm just saying," Vito continued. "Humans have been making music in caves and cathedrals for thousands of years. We don't need million-credit equipment to make something beautiful." The idea took root slowly, carefully. By evening, they'd gathered in Tunnel 7, deep in the station's underbelly where tourists never ventured and workers rarely lingered. Kate had spread the word through the human quarters. A free performance, no credits required, just show up. She'd expected maybe a dozen people. 50 arrived. They came with what they had. Martinez brought his grandfather's harmonica. Chan had a flute she'd 3D printed from specifications in the station's database. Others brought percussion, drums fashioned from maintenance equipment, rhythm sticks, anything that could make a sound. Vito had rigged a simple amplification system from spare parts. Nothing fancy, but functional. Kate sat at a makeshift keyboard, a flat panel she'd programmed to recognize touch and produce tones. It wasn't her Steinway from Earth, but when she pressed the first keys and heard the notes echo through the tunnel, something in her chest loosened. She began with Chopin, a nocturne that had always reminded her of starlight. The tunnel transformed it, added layers of reverb that made each note shimmer and sustain. The others joined in gradually. Martinez's harmonica weaving through the melody, Chen's flute dancing above it like a distant comet. Then something unexpected happened. Non-humans began appearing at the tunnel entrances. First came a small group of Vraxians, their antennae quivering with what Kate had learned to recognize as curiosity. Then Keltorians, their crystalline bodies refracting the dim tunnel lights. A family of Thrin, their 6 eyes wide with something that might have been wonder. Kate didn't stop playing. If anything, she played harder, letting her fingers remember every piece she'd ever loved, every song that had made her feel human when the vastness of space threatened to make her feel small. The other humans followed her lead, and what had started as a simple performance became something more, a declaration, a reminder, a proof. Humans didn't need expensive equipment to make art. They just needed air in their lungs and fire in their hearts. The performance lasted 3 hours. By the end, hundreds had gathered, species from across the galaxy standing shoulder to shoulder in a maintenance tunnel, listening to humans make music from scraps and determination. When the last note faded, the silence that followed felt sacred. Then the applause began, not just clapping, but the clicking of mandibles, the chiming of crystalline appendages, the thrumming of tentacles against metal, every species contributing their own expression of appreciation. An elderly Keltorian approached Kate as the crowd dispersed. Its translator device crackled to life. "I attended the Crystalline Choir's performance this evening. It was technically perfect, acoustically flawless, and utterly forgettable compared to what I just experienced here. Kate felt tears prick her eyes. We're just humans making noise in a tunnel. No, the Keltorian said, its body pulsing with colors Kate couldn't name. You are proof that the value of art is not in its price but in its soul. The galaxy charges exorbitant fees for performances by those who have forgotten this truth. But humans, you give performances that remind us why music matters in the first place. After the alien left, Vito appeared beside Kate, grinning. So same time next week? Kate laughed, the sound echoing down the tunnel like music itself. Absolutely. But next time we're working on the acoustics, and maybe getting some real coffee. Now you're just being unrealistic, Vito said. They walked back through the station together, past the expensive venues and exclusive clubs, past all the places that charged galaxy-high prices for entertainment. Behind them, Tunnel 7 stood empty again, just another maintenance corridor in an endless station. But it would fill again. Humans would make sure of that, because that's what humans did. They took nothing and made it something. They found beauty in unlikely places and created wonder from spare parts and stubborn hope. Other species might have superior technology and ancient traditions, but humans had something else entirely. They had performances that cost nothing and meant everything, given freely to anyone willing to listen, and in the vast, expensive galaxy that made all the difference.